Moving to Japan? Our award-winning specialists are here to assist your swift and smooth transition. All Japan Relocation offers exceptional relocation services to expats throughout Japan.
And this is a hot topic in general, right? With mobility after COVID or during COVID, we were getting the proverbial seat at the table. Since then, I think the seat is there, but we're not always asked to be there. So providing information to what's relevant to the business is how I sneak myself back at that table. Sometimes it's from a cost perspective. Sometimes it's a clarification of new regulations or new rules, or being the canary in the coal mine and sharing information that they may not be aware of, but that has snowball effect situations for the entire company. Mobility is not always apparent to our leaders as being a critical part of their business. But what they don't realize is that oftentimes the individuals that we're sponsoring are critical employees. They're the individuals who are patent writers. They're the individuals who are performing a skill set that we've required to sponsor them for. So the reality is that they're a small but mighty group, and getting the business to understand that, acknowledge it, and to take care of those individuals actually benefits the business. And I think they're growing to learn that, sometimes more slowly than the global mobility professionals would like. But I do think that they're understanding it. Just understanding that, and a good example of that is when the $100,000 proclamation came up. The conversation about mobility came back up. The sponsorship questions were there, and it was all the way through the C-suite. Those questions were coming from there. So it's not top of mind, but it is in the hemisphere of their mindset. So they understand the criticality. It's just making it a more prominent criticality, and there's a balance there. They're CEOs and part of the C-suite for a reason, and mobility shouldn't be the 100% reason why they're doing what they're doing. We're support.
This one is the first reaction. It will be about the preparation or the time involved in preparing letters or preparing the assignment letters, the famous LOUs for the assignees. That's something that will take away. But there are certain things that it can't be taken away, which is the sense and dealing with authorities, tax, immigration, or other kind of authorities across the world. That's something that at this moment artificial intelligence can't help us, because that's something of the sense. And how is political structured in depending on the countries. But what it can help is with certain activities such as preparing letters, preparing calculation, preparing certain background of the information that we need, and that's something that is time consuming. So probably AI can help with that within global mobility.
So global mobility stays relevant by evolving from operational function into a strategic enabler of business and talent transformation. So as organizations become more distributed, mobility plays a vital role in connecting global workforce with business needs, ensuring the right skills are at the right place, be it virtually or physically, right? It's about also going beyond your regular relocation logistics to design experiences that align with workforce strategy, employee well-being, and also organizational agility. So in short, global mobility remains relevant when it is not seen as a cost center, but as a driver for global talent strategy and a competitive advantage.
So global mobility, immigration, is the process of moving people from one country to another with the intention of living there, whether temporarily or permanently. It involves legal steps like visas, work permits, and residency requirements. But at its core, immigration and global mobility are about creating opportunities, people relocating for work, education, family, or a better quality of life.
So one top tip is hard because there's so many great tips that you could give to someone who's moving. But I think for folks who are going on assignment or relocating, it's really important, the aspect around the family support and who the family is and who's moving with them. And I think you just can't underestimate the importance and the success of that. So whatever kind of support you can provide for the family, including your furry family, I think is critical to success.
So I would say the biggest challenge right now, I would say there's two main challenges. First, I would say is immigration. Depending on where an individual is coming from, the immigration timeline for, let's say, someone who wants to stay in the U.S. permanently is just a long, daunting process. So I would say, one of the things that always, for me, kind of keeps me up or makes me even just feel for the situations that some of our employees are in is just the time that it takes for them to go through the process and the uncertainty that they feel. So even in the best case scenario, what we can do to help, it still doesn't alleviate kind of the timelines and those sorts of things that people just have to deal with. I would say on the other side with relocation, I feel like we've had some challenges with, post-COVID era and individuals, in multiple aspects. We have some people who work at companies who have a hybrid or 100% remote model. And we've had a lot of people that have literally moved away from the office and companies hiring people that are not local to the office or their main office anymore. And so trying to work with that and at the same time trying to work on the flip side. And we have both of those aspects in our company of offices who require people to be back in the office and what that looks like for individuals. So we have a very interesting we were listening to a report from Gallup the other day, and they said that there's two different types of individuals. There's splitters and there's blenders. And the splitters are the people who are actually in the office the majority of the time, 9 to 5 type of normal schedule, and they split their time, meaning they deal with their home lives outside of the office life. The blenders are the people who are mostly working from home, and it's completely blended, and there isn't really a definitive start and end because they're working at home and everything is all blended together. And so many people, have been surveyed to say, I want to be a blender. I don't want to be a splitter. I don't want to be back in the office anymore. But they actually found that the splitters are happier than the blenders. The blenders are burnt out. They're unhappy with their situation. And so I think where global mobility comes in is that we have, a workforce that we have a variety of different workers and a variety of different ways that we need to, help support the company. So for us, trying to make sure that we create programs that are unique to what people's needs are and unique to, how it's best going to serve the company. So if you have somebody who is that splitter and we need that person to be local to that office, how are we going to help support them in a global mobility sense? Or a relocation sense? And then how are we also going to be able to make sure that we engage those individuals who are blenders, who are mostly at home and aren't, engaged in the physical office? So I think all of those things are really, have become important and different and challenging, for the global mobility space.
The department itself helping the employee to have the transition in a smooth way, his family and the family and himself. So actually, what I believe that global mobility is just it's a good, if it's done properly, it's gonna be a good employee, good repetition to the company. So actually, I believe that how can I manage it is just to prepare the employee well and get and explain to him step by step what is going to happen. This is going to help the employee to move smoothly and to be to start and accelerate the productivity from day one. So sometimes it takes the employees like 6 months or 8 months if they are not prepared to the culture, they are not prepared to the environment in the country, in the new country, new home country or host country. So actually, I think getting closer and partner with the employee is very important.
My top tip is basically just know all the logistics related to moving employees to the United States. Be there for them to answer all the questions. Be there to be able to navigate them from the logistic maze related to relocation to the United States. Just make sure that all the benefits that we provide are suitable for somebody coming to the United States, that they reflect the cost of living in this country. So just like I said, be very, be there for the employees and just make sure that you have open communications. You're there to help them answer any questions, any issues that they may arise during the relocation.
The elusive seat at the table. I think it's just continuing to demonstrate the strategic values. So really aligning with the broader business goals and being agile with what the business needs.
Global mobility to me refers to the system and policies and people involved in moving employees across borders for work assignments or permanent relocations. It's about ensuring smooth transitions, addressing cultural, logistical, and legal challenges, and supporting individuals and their families during life-changing moves.